on Sleep Blissful now, it's on my personal page.
Oh, well, we can do a little, let me see if I can do something to send folks over there from the main event page.
Hi, everyone. Go get some water, get some tea, have a little walk around your dining room table, do a couple stretches, do some breath work. We're going to talk about oh my gosh, everybody was so great in providing the tips that they use when they can't fall asleep. And for sure, I want to share with everybody the box breathing technique. I'm trying to see who suggested it because I'm like, yeah, I use that one. So while we're waiting to kind of see where we can move over, I'm just going to go ahead and give this tip right away, and then we're going to dive in a little bit more. So box breathing is you imagine a box, and you inhale as you're imagining the breath is going up one side of the box. You hold the breath as it goes across the box, and then you exhale. You exhale as you go down the side of the box, and then slowly go across the end. So you have this suspension breath. So it's kind of like inhaling, retain the breath, exhaling, suspend the breath. Now there's other patterns you could use, but yeah.
Well, and that one's really great. If you have any sort of cardiovascular issues or hypertension issues, which I do, my naturopath suggested a simplified version, which is just like you're making a little mountain. So you do like an equal count up, little pause, down and up. And that the shorter pause is just better for folks who have circulatory issues. But it works so beautifully. I use that technique quite often with counting and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Because your mind is having to stay focused, and pretty soon you're going to just drift off into sleep, not very long. And the same thing physiological, your heart rate is going down, your blood pressure, all of that too. Your nervous system is calming. So yeah, breath work, it's really pranayama, which is life force. And that comes from yoga, from thousands and thousands of years of practice. And yet now in the Western world, we call it breath work. So yeah, there's a lot of great techniques with breath work to help us to fall asleep. And then again, even like last month when we talked about interrupted sleep. So are we just going to be on my personal page? Because I don't think there's any way we can move it over and
yeah, I think we're on your personal page. I want to real quick send a little notice over to folks at the event.
Okay.
And see if we can't just let them know to come over to over here, right? So
yeah. And it'll be recorded. Obviously, it's now on Facebook and all that.
Right.
So I'll just give a little bit of update on where is Barbara Badolati in the world. So Barbara Badolati, who has been on a 3-month book tour, I've logged in over 10,000 miles. I still have a couple more days before I actually will be in Seattle tomorrow. So full circle, all the way from New York back, had so many incredible experiences. So lots of books, shared lots of sleep tips with people all over the country, got to see a lot of great friends and some family members. And now I am one more night in a hotel.
One more bed.
Yeah. And right now I'm in Missoula, Montana. So if you can venture out and to see this world, this country, it's phenomenal. There's just so much different topography and so many different types of bodies of water. And it's just incredible.
Do you know how many cities you've been in, like that you've stayed in?
I think I haven't done a recent count, but I think I've put my head down on 26 different beds. And fortunately, I have my one pillow from Twilla that's been a lifesaver. And I think I've been in 20 some different states. And yeah, over 3 months and 10,000 miles and plus. So yeah, it's been quite an adventure. I'm so glad I was able to do it.
I am not like, I don't know. My technology abilities. I'm not being able to pull up the thing and do it.
That's all right. That's all right. People
Gonna,
will figure it out. I could probably do it too. All right. So introduce yourself and then we'll like dive into what
of
do you do
course.
if you can't fall asleep?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Helen Sernett, the host of Sleepless, a podcast to help you fall asleep. And we are in the middle of our second season. I am in Seattle. And right now I'm in my lovely office in West Seattle. So yeah, this is where I hang out most of the time.
Yeah, and I'm all over the place. So I can't wait to be back in Seattle and just have one time zone I get to manage. And that's the thing too about trying to fall asleep. Just having changes in our environment does make a huge difference in being able to fall asleep. But there's a lot of other things too so I think the biggest thing is consistency.
As much as you can, create something that you can control and be consistent with it.
Yeah, and we were talking about some people were sharing the things that they do that don't help them to be able to fall asleep. In fact, I was just down having breakfast and the woman that I was talking to, because the conversation was, what are you doing and how are you visiting and so on. And she's like, yeah, my boyfriend has so much insomnia and it's because he is playing games and watching TV way into the night. And then he wonders why he's wired and can't get to sleep.
Yeah.
We were talking about that because there were several people when I asked the question and like somebody said, yeah, I watch TV. I probably shouldn't. I scroll through my phone. I shouldn't. So, I again, watch TV came up a lot.
Watching TV and I've done it. I've fallen asleep watching TV, fall asleep on the couch. Like we don't have a TV in our bedroom. So I fall asleep on the couch if I'm watching TV and it's not awesome. You wake up with a crick in your neck. You're not happy with it. It's not good.
Yeah. Then you gotta like get back, like kind of fall into sleep when you get to bed. Yeah. So and TV too. I mean, there's a whole lot of studies about the psychological impact of that. My mom, she worked third shift and she would keep that TV on all the time. And I, even just the flickering of the light is disruptive of our sleep. One of the reasons I wrote the book, Sleep Blissful, was because my mom never got enough sleep. And she passed away, I believe, prematurely in her 60s because she just was sleep deprived for decades, most of her life. And then having that TV on all the time, even though I talked to her about it. So sometimes no matter what we know, it really is up to each individual to find the best way. And so we are just sharing some ideas and tips and hopefully can influence a little bit.
I'm so proud of anyone who's watching this because that means that they're interested in figuring it out and prioritizing their health. Like they want to be in a better place and a better rhythm with their sleep cycles and with who they, their health and their well-being. So it's just a very, I think you can only teach when people are receptive, and anyone who's here is receptive to those ideas, right? Of changing their patterns and creating new disciplines and practices to improve their health.
Yeah. And there's a couple things. One, in the stages of change, when it comes to well-being or anything, stages of change for getting a new job or whatever. That first one is awareness, pre-contemplative. You're thinking about it. And this was so great is everybody that replied to my question, what do you do when you can't fall asleep? There were so many good tips where I'm like, oh, good. There's so much information now and people are trying different things. So you do have to try different things. And I'm going to talk a little bit about and prioritizing as well as valuing, right?
Yes.
Anything that we value, we take care of. So whether it's the environment or our health or whatever, that's one of my priorities is and that I value my health. And the older I get, the more I realize that my longevity and my health is got to be a priority. So, so one thing I wanted to share too is about circadian rhythms, and we're not going to go through all of them. We have circadian rhythms all the time. Like our whole day is based on that. It's based on hormonal changes and fluctuations, and so many different variables with our circadian rhythms. And so when we're going into that first stage of sleep, that's kind of when we're just starting to feel a little bit drowsy. That is the time when we need to honor that first cycle, because that cycle is triggering, and again, dimming lights and all these different ideas and techniques and everything that people are aware of now, getting off TV, stop scrolling, all of that, because then you're honoring your body's natural rhythm. And we used to honor it all the time. 100 years ago, we were in sync with that. So that first cycle is really, really important. And that is the precursor to the falling asleep, because that moves us into the second stage. Did you want to say more about that?
No, sometimes I just have to, when I'm trying to fall asleep, and especially when I have the hardest time of it, I really have to let my body take as much time as it's going to take to get there. In terms of like sitting and resting comfortably and not being, and just reminding myself that I don't need to be anxious, that this will happen, that it's natural, that I will get there, the rhythms will happen. And it's almost like a trust fall into your body. And that thing where you jerk yourself to sleep. I sometimes think of that as my trust fall with myself into sleep.
Yes. And that is more of moving into that second stage. So you're absolutely right. That second stage is where we could have a tug of war. We could kind of be like, oh, just one more scroll, or oh, this comedian's so funny, or I just need to do this one last thing before work tomorrow, or my child, or whatever, right? There's that temptation to want to, but once that happens, then your body starts to, your blood flow, all of it starts to change. And now it's harder to fall asleep. So that second stage, so when you start to move, and usually people kind of know what time of day or the seasons may even affect the time of night that we, or day that we go to sleep. So when you know that about yourself and you honor that, you're going to have a better chance of falling asleep when it's the most appropriate natural time for you. And that takes discipline and awareness and all of it.
And like you said, the value of sleep, I think, I don't know, as a woman and as a mom, I sometimes have to put things into the context of like family and being a mama bear. And like over the last year, I've thought a lot about the idea of guarding my sleep, like literally just wrapping my arms around it and treating it like one of my children.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, and then when you are in that first and second stage and you have that, what would you call that? Like wrapping that around, like it's beyond just a value that you have. It's beyond just self-care. It's almost like it's a shift in your mindset, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I've had to think about my sleep like I'm caring for it like a living creature almost. And that has made me be better about prioritizing getting to sleep over being entertained, or the escapism that it provides me with, or the staying up late to do things, or the mind spiraling into like whatever anxiety or depression thoughts are happening. If I think about my sleep, like I think about how much I love my child and how much I would protect my child, and how the things that I'm doing are harming that child, then I'm like, no, I have to stop.
Yeah. And yes, exactly. And how I use it is I've had enough times where the next day I'm miserable. So I use that as, I'm in this hotel. I started watching A Million Miles Away last night, and I got to that place of like, okay, I really need to do my evening ritual because that stretching will help me so I don't wake up in the middle of the night with pain in my legs or a Charlie horse. But I really want to watch this movie. And then I had to say, if you watch this movie, as tempting as it is, you're not going to feel good the next day. And then you're going to want a cup of coffee. And then you're going to, you know what I mean? And then we kind of spiral down. Sure, we can make up for it, right? But, but it was like, no, same premise as what you're saying is like, I really am going to care for myself and do the things I know that work, which is back to all the people that shared, like the box breathing. Somebody said, going through their day and identifying everything they're grateful for. I mean, to me, it's like, that's much more important than finishing a movie that I can watch anytime.
Yeah. And that idea that you can get to it later, like whatever it is that you think you've got to spend your time on instead of sleep right now, it is waiting for you and you're going to be so much better at it. Like you're gonna be so much better at it and enjoy it so much more if you have your full night's sleep.
I know, exactly. Let's see. I loved it. One of my friends said, one bop with a mallet and I'm good to go.
You gotta keep a sense of humor.
I know. I'm like, well, sometimes it took me too. I remember probably about 20, 30 years ago when melatonin wasn't even a thing, but I knew about it, right? Because I had been really diving into all of this. And I had nights where I wasn't sleeping well. So I went into the health food store. I was visiting in Michigan, visiting my family. I think I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. I was in Michigan and my brother had the car. So I'm like, hey, could you pull into the health hut? I need to run in and get something for sleep. And he's like, all right. So I come out and I think it was like $12 or something. I mean, it was pretty expensive at the time. And he said, well, for that, I could have just hit you over the head and made you fun. You could have given me the $12. So anyway, I mean, it's like, that was pretty funny when I read that. I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds like my brother. There, you know, some other ones too, like it rarely occurs, but just focusing on a visual, like a color or a scene, like a beach scene or something. So building up your toolbox and having these things ready to go. Even if I'm tired, I still use my insight timer meditations.
Well, and I love one of the answers came back about playing a word game with yourself where you pick a letter of the alphabet and you just think of all the words that you can possibly think of with that letter that start with that letter. And like, don't go to the next letter. Just keep yourself, like force yourself to keep on thinking about it. And like that works for them to get them into this drowsy state. And it's like, I don't know, you might not ever read that specific game in a list of top 10 ways to fall asleep. But if you find something that works for you really well, like do it. It's your brain.
Yeah, and share a little bit about, because it's the same premise as Sleepless that you have going on.
Totally. It's it's very similar because the whole reason why I started Sleepless was because I wanted somebody to count to me so I could get to sleep. Like I needed an external voice counting those sheep as they go over the fence. And that's what I do with Sleepless is it's, you know, there's 12 of them now. I've got, or almost at 12 anyway, this season, once we're done with this season, it'll be 12. And it's just lists of different things that I think might help bore people. And some of them work for some people, like the presidents either really work or really don't work for some people. States and capitals are very much the same way. And then lately, the ones that I've done early this season have been lists of sort of animal breeds. I've done one for dogs and one for sheep and one for grasses, actually, like different types of grasses. And folks have been liking those because they're like, oh, I don't expect myself to know that. Like, I expect myself to know the capitals in the states or the presidents or something like that. Seems like knowledge I should have. But there's no way that I should have memorized a list of 350 dog breeds. So I'm just going to go to sleep. Like, I don't have to worry about like learning. I'm just going to sleep.
Yeah, and there are those nights that you can use all these different techniques and you still can't get to sleep.
Mm.
So at that point, and again, that's why it's important to try different things before you get to that place. So one of the things that we would encourage you to do is check out Sleepless. Go to sleepblissful.com and get the book and pull some tips from that. Ask your friends, pull the different ideas that people gave when I asked the question on the Facebook page. Just start to practice some of these things so that when you do have those challenging times, those nights where it just doesn't happen, because sometimes I'm like, this one isn't working. Let me put on Sleepless. If that still isn't working, I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, that president, what about, so my mind is going too much. And then I'm like, all right, I'm now I have to do a breathing. So
Right.
really want you to fill that wheelbarrow, fill that tool chest with different techniques that you can pull on and use, because you're not going to fall asleep every night exactly the same.
No, every day is different. I would say that if folks do want to invest in learning and tools, your Sleep Blissful bundle is fantastic. The videos and some of the suggestions you have. So like, I'll plug you. But and giving yourself the grace to know that you'll get sleep. I have definitely had those nights where I'm like, oh, I now have to like, my day is going to be different because my day is going to require a nap. So like tomorrow's just going to require a nap. I'm not going to do it after, 2 p.m., but there's going to be a point in the middle of my day where I'm going to need a nap.
Or close your eyes, or just,
Yep.
again, do a restorative pose or something, which is on that Sleep Blissful bundle. All right. Well, we will put the show notes in with some highlights, and we would love to get some feedback from all of you. So thank you very much for your time and attention. Even if you're listening to the recording, throw some comments in there, because we want to continue to provide ideas and information and a little humor for you too.
And I hope everyone gets a great night's sleep. I also want to say that we're committed to doing 2 more of these before the end of the year. So we've got a 2-part one that we're planning, which is the first one. The first part is November 21st at 10 a.m., which is a Tuesday. And then the second one is before Christmas. So December 12th at 10 a.m. And that's Holiday Sleep Success, parts 1 and 2. So we're going to be diving into the chaos of the holiday season and how to try to maintain and protect, like the little mama bear I am, protect the sleep that you can get during those times.
Yeah, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, and we'll send out information. And we really, really love that you're here. We're the Sleeping in Seattle sisters. I will get to meet you in person on Sunday, Helen.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. I can't wait. All right, everybody, sleep well. Anything else, Helen?
That's it. I just sleep well, be well. Wait, where's this? It's like, well, we had a sign off. I forgot my sign off thing. Sleep well and prosper. I think that's what it was. Sleep well and prosper.
All right. Good night, everyone. Sleep well. Have a good day.
Bye.